Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You have the roll call of the members, please.
Martin.
Here.
Trustee Trombley. Here. Trustee Girzenda.
Here.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Garrett. Here.
Your motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any changes? Any additions, deletions? Okay. We're going to do things a bit differently under the advice of our auditor. Everything that we do tonight will be under a roll call vote, or with a roll call vote, and from here on after. So, clerk, call the roll.
I think we need to do our annual organizational
Oh.
first.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Does that mean I'm out of a job now? Okay.
Not that easy.
Let's do the organizational meeting then. Sorry.
All right.
No.
We need to administer the oaths.
Make a copy, please.
Really?
What's that?
No,
No, I can go back. Mr. Martin? Okay, I, Gregory Martin, do solemnly swear
I, Gregory Martin, do solemnly
that
swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor,
I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor,
April 5th, 2011 to April 2nd, 2013.
April 5th, 2011 till April what?
2nd, 2013.
Congratulations, Greg.
Thank you.
What number mayor are you? Raise your right hand. I, Thomas Girzenda,
I, Thomas Girzenda,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution
and the
of the United
Constitution of
States
the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
for 2 years, April 5th, 2011 to April 2nd, 2013.
for 2 years, April 5th, 2011 to April 2nd, 2013.
I'm going to go one more. Raise your hand. I, Ken Trombley,
I, Kim Trombley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly
that
swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
for 2 years, April 5th, 2011 to April 2nd, 2013.
April 5th, 2011, April 2nd, 2013.
Thank you.
Do the mayor's appointments?
Your show.
Okay. Do the mayor's appointments moved by Mayor Martin that the following village officers be appointed. David Marshall, he and is hereby appointed village attorney for the term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at the retainer set for the annual budget appropriation. Donna Barkram, be and is hereby appointed deputy clerk for the village of Champlain for a term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at the salary set by the annual budget appropriation. Larry Sorrell, be and is hereby appointed Superintendent of Public Works for the term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at the salary set by annual budget appropriation. Michael Tatro Jr., be and is hereby appointed Fire, Building, Codes, Zoning Enforcement Officer for the term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at the salary set by the annual budget appropriation. Juanita Munoz is here, B, and is hereby appointed Records Access Manager for the term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at no salary. Donna Barkham, B, and is hereby appointed Registrar of Vital Statistics for the term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at the salary set by annual budget appropriation. Karen Grisinda, B, and is hereby appointed to the Planning Board for a term of 5 years, expiring April 1st, 2014, at no salary. This is filling an unexpired term. Norman Kozlowski, B, and is hereby appointed to the Planning Board for a term of 5 years, expiring April 5th, 2016, at no salary. The last one is a vacancy. I have a person who is interested. I just have to get some information to him about this position on the Planning Board to fulfill an unexpired term, expiring April 2nd, 2013, at no salary.
I second your motions.
Second motion. Any discussion here? Now we'll have a roll call vote.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Mayoral committee appointments. Designations, April 5th, 2011 to April 3rd, 2012. The following appointments were offered by Mayor Martin. Deputy Mayor, Amy. Garrick. Water and Sewer Commissioner, Tom Tatro. Deputy Commissioner, Tom Grisenda. Tom Lee.
Try
I'm
again.
sorry. Just a little nervous here. Water and Sewer Commissioner, Thomas Trombley. Deputy Commissioner, Thomas Grisenda. Street Commissioner, Kim Trombley. Deputy Commissioner, Tom Grisenda. Equipment Tool Commissioner, Amy Garrett. Deputy Commissioner, Tom Grisenda. Building Property Commissioner, Kim Trombley. Deputy Commissioner, Amy Garrett. Parks Recreation Commissioner, Amy Garrett. Deputy Commissioner, Tom Trombley. Personnel Commissioner, Amy Garrett. Deputy Commissioner, Kim Trombley. Harassment Committee Member, Thomas Grisenda. Harassment Committee Member, Kim Trombley. Shared Services Commissioner, Tom Trombley. Deputy Commissioner, Tom Grisenda. Insurance Commissioner, Kim Trombley. Planning Board Liaison, Tom Trombley. Zoning Board Liaison, Kim Trombley. Champlain Fire District Liaison, Tom Trombley. Chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Clark Curtick. Vice Chairperson, who remain unappointed at this point. Chairperson of the Planning Board, Janet Petrich. Vice Chairman will remain open at this point. Budget Officer is myself, Greg Martin. Recreation Committee, Amy Garrett. Town of IDA, Champlain IDA member, myself, and Town of Champlain IDA member, Thomas Trombley. I need a second, please.
So moved.
You need a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Board appointments. Need a motion to appoint these, Marie Dupuy and Claire Carr be and hereby appointed inspectors of election for a term of 1 year expiring April 3rd, 2012 at the salary set by annual budget appropriation with Marie Dupuy as chairperson. Richard Fillion be and is hereby appointed village historian for a term of 1 year expiring April 3rd, 2012 at no salary. Megan McComb, be and is hereby appointed Village of Champlain Recreation Leader for a term of 1 year, expiring April 3rd, 2012, at a salary set by annual budget appropriation. Peter Visconti, be and is hereby appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term of 5 years, expiring April 5th, 2016, at no salary. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee that the first Tuesday night of each month be and is hereby designated as the official meeting night of the village board during the year April 5th, 2011 through April 3rd, 2012 at the time of 6:30 p.m. at the village office, 1104 Route 9 Main Street, Champlain, New York. Further, a copy of said resolution be forwarded to the news media and others having an interest in said meetings and requesting copies thereof, thereby officially notifying the public as required by law, and in meeting the obligations of the Freedom of Information Act. Also, that said meeting dates will be posted in one conspicuous place in the village as required by law. Need a roll call
So
vote,
moved.
please. A second, I'm sorry. Amy?
I'll second.
Okay. Need a vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee that the second Wednesday night of each month be and is hereby designated as the official meeting night of the Zoning Board of Appeals during the year April 5th, 2011 through April 3rd, 2012 at the time of 5 p.m. at the village office, 1104 Route 9 Main Street, Champlain, New York. Further, a copy of said resolution be forwarded to the news media and others having an interest in said meetings and requesting copies thereof, thereby officially notifying the public as required by law and in meeting the obligations of the Freedom of Information Act. Also, that said meeting dates will be posted in one conspicuous place in the village as required by law. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Give a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee is carried that TD Bank, Shazy Branch Office, Key Bank of New York, N.A., Champlain Branch Office, Chase Manhattan Bank, New York, New York, Key Trust Company, Albany, New York, USDA Rural Development, Ithaca, New York, and Champlain National Bank, Champlain Branch Office, be and hereby designated the official bank depositories of village funds during the year April 5th, 2011 through April 3rd, 2012. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Moved by and seconded by, whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain has determined to authorize payment in advance of audit of claims for public utility services, postage, freight, and express charges, and whereas all such claims shall be presented at the next regular meeting of audit, and whereas the claimant and officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severely liable for any amount disallowed by the Board of Trustees. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Section 1, that the Board of Trustees authorizes payment in advance of audit of claims for public utility services, postage, freight, and express charges, and all such claims be presented at the next regular meeting for audit, and the claimant and officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severely liable for any amount disallowed by the Board of Trustees. Section 2, the resolutions shall take effect immediately. Do I have a motion?
Motion to move.
Do I have a second? We have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee, whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain has determined to pay a fixed rate for mileage as reimbursement to officers and employees of the village who use their personal automobiles while performing their official duties on behalf of the village. Now therefore be it resolved, Section 1, that the Board of Trustees shall approve reimbursement to such officers and employees at the rate of 50 cents per mile. Section 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Could we have a vote, please?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee that the Press Republican, Plattsburgh, New York, be and is hereby designated the official newspaper of the Village of Champlain during the year April 5th, 2011 through April 3rd, 2012.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee that the village continue its participation in and with the joint projects of the Town of Champlain Youth Program and with the County of Clinton Comprehensive Youth Program as a member of said countywide youth organization. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Moved by trustee and seconded by trustee and carried that the annual organizational meeting for organizing the board for the 2012-2013 official year and for the various appointments and committees be and is hereby scheduled for April 3rd, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. at the village office, 1104 Route 9, Main Street, Champlain, New York. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
The board next reviewed the investment policy, procurement policy, Teamsters Union contract, personnel policy, and rules and procedures for public meetings. And they were all accepted as submitted. It was moved by trustee and seconded by trustee that there being no further business to come before this meeting, same was declared adjourned at. Have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Do we have a roll call vote?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
Adjourned at 6:50 p.m. Thank you for your patience. All right, now, we've saluted the flag, we've had a roll call of members. Now, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussions, any additions, any deletions? So we have a motion to approve. We have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Abstain.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
Okay. Before we move on to presentations or petitions, communications and notices, general question period for members of the community. Annually, we read the guidelines for public comment, and we shall do that now. The public shall be allowed to speak only during the public comment period of the meeting or at such other time as the majority of the board shall allow. Speakers must be recognized by the preceding or presiding officer. Speakers must give their name, address, organization, if any. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, interrupt the speaker during the remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification of information. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to any member thereof. Speakers shall observe the common accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Interested parties or their representatives may address the board by written communications. Written communications shall be delivered to the clerk treasurer or their designee. Thank you for that. Now, so do we have any comments, questions for members of the community? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have to stand there.
No, just state your name.
I'm Jana McFetridge. I live at 32 Church Street in the Village. I'm the student council advisor at the high school. And one of the things we're encouraging the student council members to do is to become involved in local government in their villages. And so I had a student come to me recently with a great idea for the village of Champlain, and I said, let's go to the village board meeting and you can present your idea.
Okay.
So this is Rachel Flurry. Give me your address.
Okay. 106 South Street. I don't think I have to say the rest of the address anyway. So, I've come to my teacher with an idea for a community garden, but I was hoping that we could get some land so that we could do this. I don't really know what else to say.
That's all right.
Okay.
So she
Flower
has
or vegetable?
Vegetable.
So we were talking about the idea of maybe getting a plot of land that we could get tilled, rototilled, and then maybe somehow we could divide it into plots depending on who doesn't have access in their own yard, or maybe he just doesn't have the ability to plow it. I don't know, we were just talking about it. Rachel thought it would be a good idea, and I think some of her classmates who live in the village also were supportive. You know, Betsy was interested.
Yeah.
There's some others also. So.
I think it's a wonderful idea. They did it in Plattsburgh and it's extremely successful. So.
Well, in talking with Janet a couple days ago about this matter, first of all, I'm very encouraged that some younger person here in the village has come up with this idea and is moving forward with this. I've spoken to some people here on the board and in the community as well. I think we have some land for you to develop this idea. It's going to take a bit of work on your part, but we will be here to help guide you through this. I think we have some village property that could be tilled and used for this purpose, and I think as the village board we would like to see this go forward. I think it's an excellent idea on your part, and we thank you for bringing it to us.
Thank you.
So we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just wondering, how much land do they use in Plattsburgh?
I don't know, but it's right when you come down near St. Peter's across the way. There, it's not that big.
Over on the side where the
Yeah, and that's just a
offices
flower garden there that they all take care of,
are?
community flower
Vegetable
garden.
gardens.
But there is somebody else, and I'm not sure where it is, that they do. A farmer has given them land, and it was very successful. People come, and if they don't have access, just like Rachel was saying, they're able to come and they work. You know, they put their part in to help keep the weeds, and they can all, you know, take part in the harvest. So.
How big of a plot do they usually use?
I don't know how big it is.
Where you just plant lettuce and carrots or,
Whatever people wanted
40
to
acres
plant,
of,
they can choose the vegetables that they wanted to put in. And there was, you know, it became a
they're all
variety. They all kind of worked together. You know, they kind of worked together on the whole thing. It wasn't, you know, one person, you know, did this and that's all theirs. It was everybody worked it together. You had to put it time, like a timeshare thing, and you worked it, and you shared it, you know. One family didn't get all the corn, you know. Those who work all have some corn, you know, that type of thing.
yeah.
There was one plot of land, I'm not sure who the owner was, but I believe it was a more than Storks. We had actually used a portion of land 2 summers ago. It worked out nice. The only drawback was the travel and bringing your water.
Mm.
That was a little bit of a drawback. You had a bottle and whatever you carry or bring out to that plot. But it was individually separated, so you had your own choice of what did you want to plant and what you harvest. And apparently if you had other plots that people, if you knew each other, want to exchange or trade, barter, It didn't, fortunately, we did not use that advantage last year. I'm not sure why. I think we had some small container planters that we did last year, but price of tomatoes is up there.
Rachel, have you done any research at all into how other communities have dealt with this?
No, I haven't quite yet, but I can.
Yeah, that's probably where we'll have to go. Is maybe a starting point. So some plans and guidelines of this. It's great.
Will you
Great
be
idea.
reaching out to other classmates to possibly try to use this as some kind of school recognition, or I know some schools have to do like community service in order to graduate. I don't believe we do that at Northeastern, but I know that quite a few schools do it. And it's, you know, associate community service with having gotten in trouble or something, but a lot of schools do use projects like this in order to graduate. So it would be nice if you could enlist some other students to really help you with this, and possibly reaching out maybe to the Press Republican and the North Countryman to get a little more involvement also from the community.
Yeah, like I said, there was definite interest at the school. That's just
That's great.
among my friends. So I'm sure there'd be more people interested too.
You know, it'd be neat too is if we could approach some of our elderly, you know, that aren't able to do that anymore with kids and say, you know, you're going to be my sponsor, grandparent, you know, that you're gonna work that garden for you, and I'm gonna bring you some of the produce. Do you know how that will shine with people? And I know we can enlist St. Mary's kids to help with that, definitely. They did a little garden outside of St. Mary's last year, so cute. But you know, it's a great program. I think it's awesome.
I donated the fertilizer for St. Mary's Garden last year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to address the board?
Charlie's.
Let me just say relative to your idea, which I think is a fantastic one. Cooperative Extension in Plattsburgh may also be able to assist you. They have a horticulturist, and they have people who can tell you what other communities are doing and so on. And if you can just give me your contact information, I will have somebody get in touch with you. Okay? All right. Okay. Yes, Amy, I do, but there'll be others. I just have a couple of quick things tonight. I wanted to give you a quick overview of the state budget picture. I don't know whether have they projected things for the village yet in terms of diminutions and cuts and so on. No. Okay. We have about a $250 million budget in the county, and 90% of that is mandated. And how that comes back to bite us is the fact that those mandates can increase or decrease depending on the whim of the individual involved. And the one that's changed the most is Medicaid. Now, on a 30-day notice, they can tell us that our share will go from 50% to 55%. And we're talking about millions of dollars. So it is the most onerous thing that I have seen. There's no mandate relief in the budget, and probation is getting cut, community college is getting cut, Department of Social Services is getting cut, health care is getting cut, and in a lot of cases it isn't an overwhelming figure, although we believe it will be in the millions of dollars, but it is death by pinprick. It is so many different things that are being cut, and I just don't know about the services that we're going to provide. Our budget time, we were, Michael and I were at a very interesting budget hearing last night in Rouse's Point, where Rouse's Point in fact did not pass their budget because of the number of people that were there. And I anticipate a similar circumstance potentially at the county because, you know, nobody likes to hear the word no, but we also can't afford specific things that are going to be going on, and you have to draw the line somewhere. I did want to comment quickly on the airport. I mentioned the last time about we were coming up with paid parking. We realized over $58,000 in 3 weeks in March, and it looks like we're going to be seeing about $450,000 a year for the county. This fits in very nicely because we are at a point, and I don't know how many people have flown out of there lately, but the complaints are loud and clear. And if you read the editorial in the paper, you would know that we have issues. We're putting seating in, we're getting a new TSA person, so we'll have two. We're getting another counter, but we need an expansion of an airport. This airport was sized at about 100,000. We are doing 100,000 employments now. The next airport, $25 to $35 million worth, will be coming up in the next 2 years, and it'll be sized for $250,000. Let's hope that the future trips here, I don't know, Allegiant is so confident that they're going to draw people from Montreal for their Las Vegas excursion, which opens in 3 months, that they're looking on putting on extra planes too. But in any event, those are the things that are going on down there, and hopefully we'll get some. I mean, I was down there just observing, and there was an 80-year-old gentleman who was there standing for over 2 hours, and it's just you know, we didn't, I guess, anticipate the people who planned this. And again, I came on the board just 3.5 years ago, so it wasn't anything that I was involved with, but the expansion has been exponential, and it's just for 100,000 people going out of a small airport like Plattsburgh, it's quite unbelievable.
Gary,
Yes.
I apologize, but I have to interrupt you.
That's okay.
We have to start we have to go out of the regular meeting.
Okay.
And go to the budget hearing.
Okay. All right.
And as soon as that's done.
I only have 2 more little things, but I can wait. I'm not in a hurry. So that's good.
Do I have a motion to go out of the regular meeting, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martin.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
A motion to open the budget hearing, the official budget hearing.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Oh yeah, aye. Sorry.
The budget for fiscal year beginning June 1st, 2011 and ending May 31st, 2012. Just a few words about this, please, if I could. The anticipated revenues and the total of general expenditures means that the amount to be raised by taxation is $247,490. When I looked at this budget, I've cut in many areas to bring it more in line with what I expected in this economic times, and what the village could reasonably do over the next year. I genuinely hope that we don't have a financial catastrophic expenditure. We are very close to the bone here, so to speak. The tax rate will go to $4.44 a thousand. That is a raise of 3 cents per thousand over last year's tax rate. The water rates for next year for the village of Champlain and the town of Champlain will not change. The wastewater rates for the village of Champlain and the town of Champlain will not change. So we have kept the line for this upcoming budget very, very close. And to be quite frank, and I think the board members here, I think we are proud of this budget. I think we can make it work. And now, if there's any comment, more than happy to address them.
I have an observation.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I'm Mike Tatro. I don't know if anyone has seen the paper today, but I read where the village of Malone village tax rate was $20 per thousand.
Yes.
I thought that was a misprint. So at $4, I think you're doing a good job.
Well, they have a police department and a fire department, and
yes,
it's
they're
commercial.
they're larger. I agree, but $20.
Yes, yes. And then you put the water rates and wastewater rates on top of that as well. Yes. Any other discussion on the budget?
I would just like to thank Mayor Martin and the girls in the office for all the work that you put into it, getting the figures ready for us. It was a great job.
That's a lot of work. Thank you, ladies. Agreed. Have a motion to approve the budget?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second to approve the budget?
Second.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
Have a motion to close the budget hearing, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
Motion to go back into the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Have a roll call, please?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett, Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda.
Aye.
I said it wrong.
Good
mix-up, that's good.
This was a suggestion of the auditor now. Not
Well, I didn't
mine.
even say anything.
Okay, Mr. McManus,
She
back
didn't
to you,
ask
sir.
me yet.
Yes.
Wait, wait,
Oh, I'm
wait.
sorry.
Aye. You didn't say me. You got confused and skipped me. Aye.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Just keep it official.
Mr. McManus.
Let me start by apologizing for the fact that I didn't say my name initially when I first started. Mr. Taker reminded me of that, so thank you. I'll finish up. I know you have a 5-minute limit here. I just have a couple more things.
Make an exception for you, sir.
Thank you. I did want to comment briefly on an issue which I think does impact people in the village of Champlain. We are in the process, as you may know, of looking at other options for home health care. And it is a really tough issue. We had a 2.5-hour meeting. There are extremely dedicated individuals who came to us with clients and were very impressive. On the other hand, it is costing the county about $1.9 million. So the process that I voted in favor of was, just so that you know, was to go on 2 tracks. One, we're going to be meeting with those home health care workers, nurses, and physical therapists and so on, to see if we can somehow eat away into the cost, because it is a cost which has been going up. We actually made money 5 years ago, and now because of Medicaid reimbursement and other issues is a tremendous drain on the county. The second thing we are going to do, because we do possess a license, and that license allows us, we have to provide the service. That allows us, I mean, the state is not issuing any more licenses, so we are going to put out for proposals to see if someone else will be able to come in and do the same thing, hopefully hiring the same people, but running it apparently more efficiently. I don't think you are going to beat the dedication of the individuals that I saw at that meeting, and on a personal note, my father-in-law had someone in for a number of months, and it was a fantastic thing. But when you see costs go from, a profit 5 years ago now to nearly $2 million, that doesn't project, and it really isn't anything that the employees are doing. It's just the changes in the law are forcing us into a position where we can't afford it anymore. And so either we come up with alternatives internally, which is one track that we're working on, or we're going to have to go in the other direction. Those decisions will probably be made within the next 4 to 6 months. But I wanted to comment on it, but I also wanted to say that in talking to people from other counties where it's been done, 90 to 95% of the people were rehired from these private organizations. And according to the people who went ahead with this, service was, instead of averaging, for example, 2.5 visits per day, they had to average, 4 visits a day or something. That those kinds of things change. So it is a quality of care issue too. On the other hand, it's a budgetary issue, and if you watch the news this morning, you know that there are draconian cuts coming in Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid, or being proposed anyway. And I don't know what the answer is. We have managed to do similarly what you have done, which is to try and hold the line on taxes in my first 3 years. We actually lowered the rate, and this past year we had to raise it slightly. I am making no guarantees for this coming year. I think either we're going to have to make significant cuts, or the taxes will go up significantly. So, the only other thing I wanted to mention, because I haven't been here in a couple of months, as you probably read in the paper, the firefighters' tax exemption did pass. I'm not 100% sure how many firefighters were able to sign up in the village of Champlain. 5? Okay. But as young people come in, and as they reach that 5-year minimum, and as they own homes, they of course would be eligible for this also. So it was probably it's one of the hardest, easiest things I've ever had to do, in the sense that I had to appear before 7 different boards to push this, but because of the job the firefighters do and the EMTs, it was an extremely easy sell, even at the school board level, which I really anticipated as a significant problem. But the school board unanimously passed this. So I think it says something about the character of the people in our area, in terms of, Champlain, Rouse's Point, and Moore's, in terms of how they prioritize and value the contribution that's made.
Harry, I think I can speak for the board here. We would like to thank you, and we truly appreciate your efforts in getting this passed. I know it was a huge effort on your part to get this done, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it recognizes some people in the community who give up a lot, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you've done here. So,
well,
thank you.
I'm hoping that 2 or 3 years from now, when I go and speak at these firemen's dinners, that I will see younger faces, and I will see continuing faces and people, because a lot of it isn't just recruitment, it's retention. That, young man or woman joins, and then they get married, and then they have children, and then all of a sudden, and they've got 2 jobs, and all of a sudden they can't be in the fire department anymore. So even if this goes, and it isn't a lot, but even if it goes to $400 or $500, at least it's a step. And we are continuing a process of trying to get the $200 income tax coupled with this, so they'd be able to pick up another lobbying in Albany. But lobbying in Albany now is to try and gain something is an impossible thing to do. And when Betty Little is not receptive, you know that you have a problem, because the people downstate are not receptive at all. Okay, 2 more quick things. As you probably know, our census went up in Area 1, and did you get the figures for the village of Champlain, or? No, not yet. I think it was 200 in Rouse's Point, wasn't it? Anyway, bottom line is Area 1 is going to change. I have to donate some streets to Sam Trombley somewhere in Morris Forks. So I'm on that committee. So our area will be shrinking at some point, and part of Morris Forks will have to, because the Ellenburg area too actually lost population and we gained. So you have to have an even number. It's somewhere around 7,200. So people in each area. So I'll be on that committee, and at least I'll have some say. I won't be giving any parts of those of Champlain away. So you're all in good shape. It'll be in Morris Forks.
Will that affect the school districts?
No.
Okay.
Well, this is just for county purposes.
Okay.
But it'll be, people will be voting who may have voted for me the last time, be voting now in Area 2 because they need to pick up. So whether it's the Blackman Road and 2 or 3 other streets east of that, I don't know how many people we actually need to send over there. But this happened a few years ago. The village of Dannemora actually went from one legislator to another because they had to even out the numbers. So the only other thing that I think I could announce, because I haven't told you this yet, Mike, but I did talk to Judy Ross today down at the health department, and I don't know what water license you guys need for your water plant, whether it's an A, B, C, or D.
It's a 2B.
It's a B. Okay.
Yes.
We've been lobbying to try and have. There are no schools up in this area. The closest one is in Hudson Valley Community College, and so in talking to President Yablonsky, we're going to try and set up some local schools for water operators. So just so we can get more people trained, and it's a good idea, even if you have more interchangeable parts. People get sick and so on. So hopefully we'll be doing that. And Judy had an idea today to actually have a 5-day where they would do the A, B, and C. And so if that will benefit, we're hoping this is going to happen within the next 3 months. There'll be material out on it, but the issue is becoming one of numbers. The college wants to be sure that they have X number of people, but I believe the town of Champlain will be sending 2 or 3 people to be trained for that. So that's coming up too. So that's all I have. As usual, if you have any questions or comments or anything that...
I think that the water licensing is an excellent idea. From our standpoint here in the village, I wondered if that could be extended to include wastewater licensing as well.
Okay. Let me find out.
That would increase the numbers that were coming in. It would have to have 2 different classrooms. Obviously.
Okay. Which license is that?
That's the real issue.
Is that the D?
No.
No.
D is just for distribution.
Okay.
And then you got your C, your B, and your A.
Yes. So which one is the
wastewater? The wastewater, that's a B plant down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It goes by size. doesn't it?
Yeah, right. It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that would be, really have no backups for the wastewater plant.
Okay.
And that would be, I think, an important...
Well, you may be getting a call from the Department of Health in terms of, need and potential people who would be interested, because the college is looking for those figures before because they have to hire somebody and bring them up here for that training. But it certainly would be a lot more beneficial for the local communities to be able to send people down, have them come back, instead of send them away for 5 days and pay room and board and mileage and so on. So
it's even hard to get classes locally here to get recertified.
Okay. Well, maybe anyway we're moving ahead on that, and hopefully we'll have something for you. But you may be getting a call. The young lady at the office is going to be calling all the municipalities and get some kind of flavor for potential numbers and so on. So you may want to talk to some people and see who might be interested. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Harry?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Harry, I think it was in this fall they sent out surveys via email concerning Medicaid, and if we had any suggestions as they're overhauling, they got a committee together of how to rectify the nightmare. Results, are they coming out anytime soon? Is that going to be shared, or is that just for the committee that gathered?
I have not seen any results. Was this a state?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not seen any results yet. I certainly won't inquire about that, Amy. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm just curious. I mean, because, a lot of different people, I'm sure, have different suggestions as to where, there is waste to curb the problem that we do have, because it is what's going to affect all our programs. It's going to crush them.
I think that there were a number of nurses who spoke at the county meeting who were raising issues relative to billing and so on, and I guess billing is a nightmare, and you have to bill the right thing or it gets rejected and so on. So and coming up with the right program, computer program and so on, and code it in and so on. But I don't think, Amy, in all honesty though, we're going to get to where some people think we should be for Medicaid with waste. I think that we're gonna it's going to deal with the quality of life that we want to have for people who are in need. It's very simple. And do we want to pay for that? And at what level do we want to pay for that? And the proposals that I've seen have had finite amounts of money that can be spent and they're vouchers. And then they use the voucher, and then when the voucher's gone, and I don't know. I would have to look at that further. Fortunately, these are.
Just curious. Yeah,
this is above my job grade in terms of being a county legislator. So we will be told by the state and the federal government, what these new things are going to be. But bottom line is, they claim that it is insolvent now and will become bankrupt. So there will be changes.
Okay.
But I'm gonna check on that, Amy, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, and one other thing.
Yeah.
For the Community Service Board, you no longer have a representation in our district. My term expired in February, so just something for you to keep in mind.
Okay,
There's no longer anyone representing our area on that board.
okay,
And there's 3 openings.
okay.
So if you know of anybody,
All
that
right.
would be good to get. I can't serve for 1 year, I have to stay off.
You have to
because I've
stay
been on
off for a
8
year.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will check around, but also if I could ask, it might be nice to keep.
I was
it-
going to announce that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might be, if you know of anybody that would be willing to serve, also, you know, that would be great, but I will ask, and I'm doing, I did Rouse's Point last night, but I'm doing Moores in the town next week, so I'll mention that too.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board? Thank you. Have the report from Mr. Tetro, Codes Enforcement.
Well, spring is here, snow is gone, the junk is visible.
Oh my gosh.
So I will be out, you know, send out warnings and we'll go down the same road we try to do, but get it compliant. It's not as bad as what I've seen in the past, but there are a few places that do need some minor touching up, I guess I'll put it that way. Other than that, permits are slow this time of year. There's not much activity right now. It's slow everywhere, it's not just in the village, so it's not unique just to here. We finalized our training with the zoning planning boards. We had our last meeting last week. The 4 sessions are complete. We're going to be receiving the CD from the engineers, the trainers. For anyone that needs to be trained, they can take the CDs, and it's basically, you know, a self-taught. You listen to it, and the board can certify them as being trained if they so desire. The award for the person who asked the most questions goes to Donna Barcombe, though.
Because you didn't feed her.
Yeah, I heard all about that. Other than that, I thought it went good. The 2 live sessions were extremely well. The last one was probably the best. It dealt with site plan review, and it was a hands-on thing where everybody was interactive, so I thought that was the best. Teleconferences, well, that's what they are, teleconferences. I'm not a fan, I guess. Other than that, I do want to remind the board that I am a member of the fire commissioners, and if you have any questions or concerns with the fire department within the village, you can ask me, get a hold of me. I'd be more than happy to represent you at the meeting. So,
Do you think the zoning and planning board meetings were productive?
yes.
So they were worthwhile?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have 1 new application in the village, and now the trainees have all these questions they never had before. So
Very good. Very good.
I thought it was extremely well.
Thank you, Michael. Another report from the mayor. First, I would like to thank the village electors who voted in the March 15th village election. Secondly, I would like to congratulate Kim and Tom on the recent re-election. Although the voter turnout was a little small, I feel the residents consider and feel comfortable with the representation this Board of Trustees gives to the village. Generally, we listen to the concerns of our residents, and we are intent upon leading this village in a productive, proactive manner. We as a group believe in this village, the direction this village is heading, and as a group hope to make this village more economically and aesthetically pleasing to our villagers and to those that are looking to locate or relocate within the village. There are some important issues this board needs to address in the near future. If we all work together as a unified community, these issues can be addressed and worked on in an effective, productive manner. Our challenge as village residents in the near future is to keep our village moving forward as a village and making it a better place to raise our children and live comfortably. This village offers unique or uniquely personal services that are enjoyed and appreciated by our residents. We as a board aim to keep moving forward as a village community and to make this village a positive place to live. As Mr. Tatro said, spring will get here eventually. The river did not jam up and flood here in the village.
Amen.
And spring cleanup dates in May will be announced shortly. One of our services is we will again pick up your lawn rakings and trimmings as we clean up the winter leftovers. I would like to thank the DPW crew for their long, productive hours keeping the streets and sidewalks of the village clear this winter. I have spoken to many residents who were very grateful of the extra effort that was made by Larry and Terry, Jimmy, and Woody this winter season. And thanks to Juanita and Donna for diligently keeping the village office up and running during some very trying winter events. Thank you to the residents. Trustee Trombley.
Really the only thing that I have this evening is that I wanted to just mention the nice kudos that Larry and the guys got in the newspaper regarding the article that was in there speaking with Chief Timmons about the flooding that we had and all of the help that the DPW gave with some pretty serious issues that we had. And it was just very nice to see the fire department and the village crew working together, and it was nice for you guys to get some very well-deserved recognition.
Thank you. Trustee Grisenda.
I'd like to congratulate Mayor Martin, Trustee Trombley on re-elections. I'd also like to thank them for helping me through this first round of elections.
And you're still here.
I'm here. Very interesting, great stuff to learn. Did have one note. The American Legion on Elm Street will be resuming bingo this year. On Thursday nights, April 14th is the first night. The property is still up for sale. However, they are intending and hoping that they'll get some more revenue to clear out some past debts for utilities and so forth, and keep the building up to maintenance standards and keep it presentable for possibly future sale. The only other, I want to say, question to our group is curiosity. If we have cameras, digital cameras, for, I was going through our notes and I liked how I saw the tool inventory. I was just curious if that's also documented on pictures.
That'd be excellent.
And to have ease of access to a camera at any given point, particularly with the DPW, whereas they rise into a situation on property, they can actually document it right there and just maintain a visual record of digital images if we ever have to go back. And
we have a camera.
Just put it to use.
That's a good idea.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Trustee Trombley.
I'd like to congratulate both Kim and Tom on their on the elections, and also Mayor Martin. And I don't have much to report this month, but I do wish to say thank you to Mayor Martin for a fine job. He is very, very dedicated to this village. And from the time that Mayor Moore stepped down, you've jumped in both feet, and you're doing a nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Garrett.
Ditto that. I have lots of things, because there's so many things going on. You don't think that there's a lot in our village, but lots of things are happening. If you want to go swimming tonight, there's open swim until 8:30. So when you finish up here, if you want to loosen your joints, head up to the school. The next one is April 12th from 7 to 8:30, and it is just $2 per person or $5 for family. So take advantage of that, and it helps support keeping the pool open for everyone in the community. So keep that in mind. I did mention to Harry about the Community Service Board. This is an organization that oversees the mental health services offered in Clinton County. They are 4-year terms, and you sit on a board that meets on the last Wednesday of the month. And I've been serving the past 8 years, and we no longer have representation up here in our district, because it is hard to get someone to travel to Plattsburgh for the meeting. It's a wonderful board. We were instrumental in helping get mental health services that are now being offered up here at the medical center. On Mondays, there are adult services, and on Thursdays for children. So that's a huge advance for us, so people don't have to travel to Plattsburgh. With the price of gas now, it's just wonderful that we have that ability. And pretty soon they're going to have their own building right behind the medical center. It's being converted into an office space, so it's more private than coming into the side door doing the code, to get in. So that's a big accomplishment, and we're very proud of that. So anyone interested in serving on that board, you can contact Kim Euler down at the Clinton County Mental Health, and she'll give you the information, or contact me here at the office and I can let you know how to submit to be part of that board. You do get voted in by the county legislature, so if someone on there doesn't like you, then don't submit. No, just kidding. Okay, activities going on. Zumba is still continuing. It is a huge, huge success. It's Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at St. Mary's from 5:15 to 6:15. It is just $5 per person. A wonderful way to get out there and get your exercise, get ready for bathing suit season. So keep that in mind. They also have it on Sundays at the Bull Mart from 3 to 4:30. I found that very interesting. I just found that out today. So that might be very interesting to go watch, not necessarily participate, but to watch them do Zumbathon in the alleys. Tomorrow, which is not going to affect anybody, but for parents who have not seen the youth program come home with their children at school, you need to submit those for all the summer programs by tomorrow, April 6th. But they are lenient if you are a little off on that to fill out the paperwork. There are a lot of great programs available for our children during the summer months, so keep that in mind. St. Mary's is sponsoring a ton of events coming up. As you know, we are on a big drive to save the school, 106 years of our community. So this Sunday there is a pancake breakfast at the school. It is from 8 a.m. to 12:30. So come to that. It's good food, and we'll have lots of other things to sell to you while you're there. We're going to have an auction on April 30th from 6:30 to 10:30 at St. Mary's Gym. We'll have food available. Steve Brody from Bridge Street Auction is donating his time to do that, so it'll be fun. We've got a lot of great items that are coming in, so it'll be worthwhile to come check it out. If you're a poker player, we're going to have a Texas Hold'em in Swanton, Vermont at the VFW on Sunday, May 1st from 12:30 to 7. So I know there's a lot of Texas Hold'em fans out there, so please check that out. There'll be posters here in the village office for any of these things, or feel free to call me and I'll get you all the information. There's going to be a walk-a-thon, which is really going to show the force of the people in this community that care about St. Mary's. We'll be walking from the Rouse's Point Civic Center to St. Mary's Academy, where then we'll have hot dogs, a barbecue, a little celebration. That is May 7th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get sponsors to donate, money if you make that walk the whole way, which is kind of cool. That will be really, I think, a very powerful event. Moonlight Bowling in Napierville, which will be kind of fun. May 14th from 7:30 to 9:30. There's going to be a dance party in Napierville. That is Saturday, May 14th from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. So that will be a good time as well. Zumbathon is doing a Zumbathon. That's going to be at the Rainbow Banquet Hall, May 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. And you all know the St. Mary's Bazaar is coming up Memorial Day weekend. We are having the same rides company come back, Amyland, which was a huge success. Nice, clean rides that aren't broken down, very safe. So we're excited to have them come back, which is wonderful. Okay. That.
Excuse me, Amy.
Yes.
There's also a car wash being sponsored up at the town garage.
Oh, yes, and what was the date on that? I didn't have that on my list.
I think it was May 7th.
May 7th. Car wash is going to be at the town office. That's right, I forgot to put that on there.
Yeah, and
I
they're gonna have
apologize.
like,
And what were the times on that? It was
Hot
9
dogs and
a.m. until 3, I believe, 9
I
to
don't
3?
really remember, I saw it on Facebook, so I didn't write it down. But
I missed that one, I apologize. There is going to be a car wash.
Oh, yes, because I'm planning to bring my car. I wish they'd have one in April.
You can call the town. Jane West is working on that, as well as Marlene Shank from our school, so that's good. That's it, as far as those things. 2 other things. As far as the tools, I also, for the digital is a phenomenal idea. Can we then, once it's up on our computer, type in the dates of some of the tools? Because I'd like to get an idea of what our turnover is, when we need to replace it, because that helps with the budgetary piece, A lot of work, but, just something to keep in the back of your mind. And there was also a grant available, Preservation League of New York State, for historical buildings. And I know Rouse's Point had approached us about our water building over on the back roads there. It's back
Rock
Pond. Possibly an idea, or maybe there's some other building that anyone may be interested in preserving. But there is a grant available with a May 7th deadline, I believe it was. May 2nd. So if anyone has any ideas of any historic building, New York State Historic Rehabilitation Tax Credit, it is called, to preserve architecture and landscapes of the recent past, and to continue the use of historic public buildings. So if there's anything that anyone has an idea of, anyone who's listening, where they feel there's something that we could work on, there is money available. The grants range from $3,000 to $10,000. And I also want to get everybody in their mind for this summer to think about our Village Fest. So if there's anyone out there that's interested in serving on that board committee, excuse me, to get ideas together, because I'd like to do one every other year, and it'd be good to get one scheduled for the summer, but the more help makes it much easier. And there was one more thing that I remembered when I was saying that. We don't have a date or anything, so it's just, I'd like to do it down in the Village Park. Yeah, like we did before.
Oh, that's a good idea. I don't mind helping out on that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll take you up on that, Kevin. The Village. Oh, there was one other thing. I'll say it if I remember it. I just lost it. Oh, yes, it's back. I would like, we'll probably have to add it to new business, but the past 2 years we have assisted in being able to keep the parade for St. Mary's, and without the assistance from the village, the parade does not go on. So last year was $1,100, and we do have $1,500 budgeted in that category. No? You take that out?
No, it's still there. We can discuss it.
I would like to add that to new business to see if we can continue. The parade does bring a lot of people into our community, and I think it's important that we show off what we got. And last year, it really was an unbelievable event. Thank you. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Trustee Bird. Have the report from the clerk treasurer, please.
Everybody has received their expense revenues for March. And we also did a water and sewer billing. Water we billed in the amount of $55,929.85. And sewer was $93,796.38.
Thank you, Harry.
Good night, all.
Thank you, Sorry.
$93,796.38. Well, actually, the first two, you can do 2, and then the supplies for the chlorine and everything, you do those together.
Yeah.
Purchase request for a metering pump to be divided into water and sewer, to come out F 8330.2, 232.84, and G 8130.2, 232.85.
This pump is to replace the, what's it say here?
That's a replacement pump for the chlorine and for the sodium aluminate at the wastewater plant.
So why is it going both water and sewer if it's the wastewater?
Because there's 2 pumps, one for each.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they're interchangeable. One breaks and we can use them in the other one.
Okay.
Do you want to combine these, or do you want to?
You want to do those, and then we'll,
So the motion will be for the 2 pumps?
yes.
I make a motion to approve the purchase requisition for the 2 metering pumps at a total of $465.69.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Okay, the next was for, did you get 2 from Scott?
What's that?
Did you get 2 still?
I got 2 pumps.
2 spill control pallets in order to comply with Clinton County Health Department for our barrels. To be split again out of water and sewer, F 8330.2, 254.85, and G 8130.2, 254.85.
Have a motion to approve the expenditure of funds.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
The next 3 are just for regular chlorine for, we had chlorine 4 barrels, come at a F 8330.4, $418 plus freight. We need Aquamag, 4 barrels, come out of F 8330.4, for a total of $1,896 plus freight. And we need sodium aluminate at the sewer plant, 3 barrels, to come out of G 8130.4 for the amount of $609.30 plus freight.
Have a motion to approve these.
So moved.
Do you have a total amount per se? Okay. So the motion can include that.
$1923.50.
No.
Can you do this one?
418.
2924.
Oh, 25. 29.
29,
23.50.
2430.
Oh, you had 2 50s? This is a 50 cents here, 609.50?
30.
Oh, 30.
What do you have?
I got 29, 24, 30.
I guess now it's a street surveyor there.
Who made the motion?
609.30, is that 1896 even?
There, do you have it added
I
up?
think so. That's probably
We have to work
418.
on our printing, handwriting.
Is it 418 even on the 4
Yes.
tons of chlorine?
Yes, 418.
Okay, so it's
2, 0,
1896
6,
and
4,
60930.
38.96, 69.
What do you have, Larry?
29, 40.
I got 38.98, 69.
What do you have?
No way.
I got 29.23.
96.
Why don't we just bring a calculator out?
3,
That's what I asked.
10, 15.
I get you.
I won't ask you.
I take my shoes off here, we can all count.
29.23.
I got 29.33.30.
Oh, on an E?
2. Yeah, I've gotten that twice.
Okay.
29, 23, 30.
29,
And I'm all together.
33,
29,
23, 30. Yeah, we got all
29,
that.
23, 30.
I had them all together.
Feel good.
Okay. The mystery is solved. Do we have a motion to approve the paying?
Motion to approve.
The sum of,
29, 23, 30.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Questions, please?
Any questions? Yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
Just to keep in check, we're supposed to have 2 verbal quotes on these? Is
Yes.
this the only suppliers, or do you have 2 verbal?
I got 2 verbal. In fact, I had for the spill containments,
I got those. This
Okay.
is for the Aquamag, the
The-
sodium, and the chlorine.
the Aquamag, the sodium chlorine is from
One supplier only.
our supplier, yes.
Right, well, I figured that. But should we not state that on here, there is only one supplier, just so that we're meeting any auditor if they, they're looking at it, because it says we need to have 2 verbal quotes. Should we not state that right on our
Be a good
requisition?
idea, yeah.
Yeah, I can do that if you want to
Okay.
go back with select chemical.
I thought it was for those, there's no other choice. What about the chlorine?
The chlorine is,
All 3 are the same,
yes.
one supplier only. Okay.
No, the sodium aluminate is from select chemical.
Right, but there's no other options,
No.
is what I'm saying.
No.
Right, we just need to state that, I think, just to stay, just a technicality.
Okay, any other discussion?
You don't know.
Have a roll call vote to expend funds?
Mayor Martin. Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Garrett. Aye.
Motion to approve paying the warrant.
Make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussions on the warrant?
Oh, wait a minute, I have additional invoices,
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I got it right here.
in the amount of $2,660.66.
We have a total.
Thank God.
Not bad.
Do you want me to amend my
yes,
motion?
please.
I amend my motion to include $2,660.66 with this month's warrant.
Okay, does the second still stand?
Was there a second?
Yeah, Tom did.
Sorry.
With
What's the
the,
amendment?
with the including.
With this here, yes it does.
Okay.
So it would be-
Any discussion on the warrant, please?
Hey, hold on 1 second, give me 1 more second. So sorry. No, they were all answered, thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
Report from the superintendent?
You all got a copy of my work log for the last month. And we've just been rechecking some meters and we're fixing some QTIs that need to be raised and stuff. Gonna get ready to start sweeping the streets soon to stop raining.
Do you have a commitment to work on the brick wall by the sidewalk by the funeral home?
No, they haven't got back to me.
Okay. Do we follow up on that one? That one's a biggie.
He said as soon as the ground thawed, he was gonna get a contractor in there to dig behind it and reset all the stones, point them up, so.
I just, one thing on the street sweeping,
Mhm.
you can, give me a heads up
I'll
on
let
that
you know
so we
ahead
can
of
put it
time.
in the newspaper.
Larry, the drive motor for wastewater plant, which one's that?
The drive, it's on the big paddles on one side. We went down, looked at it, and it's got a little drip of oil. And I'm gonna try to find just the motor, the back end of it itself, and we'll replace it ourselves because it's too crazy on the price. It's working.
Is it simply replacing the seal? Or?
I think so. I think it was overfilled with oil.
Okay. And I see you put a new floor in the flooring building, what'd you put down?
Plywood,
Okay.
yes.
You didn't get any pallets for
Yes.
storage? Okay. Cool.
Was it plywood on cement or just?
No, the building itself had like a half inch plywood on it, but when you roll the barrels off, put them in there,
Right.
sometimes they're on a point and it cracked one of the plywoods, so
Another layer.
yes.
And how did doing your nitrate sample save us 10% on the bill?
You do it before March 1st and you get 10% off the bill.
Very good.
That is good.
It- We like things like that, right?
Also on these metering pumps and these spill containment, I bought the metering pumps because I saved $60 a piece if I bought the two together.
Mhm.
And the spill containments, they were a little over 800 and I got them for $509.
That's great.
So,
You do good with that.
By the nickels.
We appreciate it.
I
Really appreciate it, Larry. You do a good job of that.
I like your item number 7. Pretty self-explanatory here.
Yeah. I like that too. Thank
Yeah.
Those of you,
So what did you do during it?
Larry put down a number 7, big snowstorm.
Big snowstorm.
March 7th, 27th.
Yeah. Larry, I have a question for you on the wastewater report, and I'd like to quote from the environmental engineer, Dominic Fontana. The facility was found to be well maintained and operating within its permit limits. As you are aware, the influent grit removal system is presently not working. How do we rectify that situation?
that's at the head of the works of the plant, and what it is, it gets airlifted,
Mhm.
they push it up, and it's just so solid down there. I had Plaster come up, and I'll have him come up and take a vacuum truck and we'll vacuum it out and see if that's how we got it going last time.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But it gets just like cement down there, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you have to aerate it every day to keep it moved.
Very good. Thank you.
You were using the diaphragm pump to do that because it was doing a decent job, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I think that we should also mention, if you're talking about sewer, that we're $80,000 to the plus because of taking in sewer. And that's pretty fabulous. You know, that helps a lot.
Yeah,
I think
Helps the
people would like to
revenue.
know that.
good. It helps the revenue stream. Anything else for Mr. Sorrell? I have to call him Mr. now because he's reopening for again. All right. Correspondence, please.
Correspondence from the Clinton County Highway Department regarding road striping prices for 2011. Correspondence from the Town of Champlain IDA regarding board appointment. Correspondence from David Patrick regarding War of 1812 plaque grant awards. Correspondence from VFW Post 1418 regarding Buddy Poppy Week and request and response and proclamation from the village. Correspondence from Thomas Trombley regarding sidewalk repair at 20 Butternut Street. Correspondence from New York State DEC regarding the annual wastewater treatment plant inspection report. Letter of intent from Karen Grisunda for position on the village planning board. Correspondence from Trinet Insurance regarding incident with snowplow truck. Letter to Ronald Trombley regarding his request for monetary relief of his water and sewer bill. Quote to clean water tank. Correspondence from Catherine Gooley asking for a credit on her April 1st water and sewer bill, and a memo from Deputy Clerk Barcombe.
Okay. Any discussion on the correspondence? Okay. Move to old business. No change in the GSA meter at this point. The water and sewer contract with the town of Champlain. Have a meeting scheduled with the water and wastewater commissioners from the town for Thursday at 1 in the afternoon to discuss the contract with the town. And we'll have that for the next meeting to either approve or disapprove. Any other old business for the board? Under new business, we need a resolution for standard workday. You've all been copied, the corrected copy here, standard workday and reporting resolution. Do we have to read this to put it in the record?
Yes, I would. Well, probably not, because it's a little confusing as far as the, if you want, probably just the top part, and mention the two names.
All right.
And if you really understood.
standard workday and reporting resolution. Be it resolved that the Village of Champlain hereby establishes the following as standard work days for elected and appointed officials, and will report the following days worked to the New York State and local employees retirement system based on the record of activities maintained and submitted by those officials to the clerk of this body. This involves Juanita Munoz and Larry Sorrell. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
I need a second, please.
Second.
To approve the standard work. Okay, need a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
I need a motion, and they have been copied with this.
Everybody was
Okay,
copied,
very
yes.
good, thank you. I need a motion to approve attendance to Waterworks Conference in at Potsdam State University in Potsdam on the 20th day of April 2011. This is New York State Department of Health, 6 credit hours for the people who need to maintain their water licenses. I propose that we send Larry, Jimmy, and Terry at a cost of $90, $30 per person. It is for 1 day.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This will take care of some of the water education credits that they need to maintain their license.
Will that affect what Mr. McManus is trying to do? Getting people here to take their courses? No?
No, they have to have, this is a continuing credit type
Okay,
thing.
so you
And
won't
with
have
Gary's,
those.
you have no idea how long they'll be before that.
No.
This is, yeah, for renewal credit. They have to stay the whole day. Any other discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
And we've been copied with correspondence from Catherine Gooley asking for a credit on her April 1st water bill, and a memo from Deputy Clerk Barkham. Donna, would you like to explain the situation here, please?
Well, Larry and I can both actually explain it. When we did the billing, obviously there was a problem because of such a high usage. So I had Larry give Mrs. Gooley a call, and Larry, did you want to take over her explanation? Give me both of them.
When I called her, apparently the hot water tank in your basement was running, and I assume you had a wrap around it or whatever, so you probably would.
Yeah, I did. I had a jacket around the rope
jacket
but it
around
was
it.
leaking between the metal jacket and the tank.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that. I knew that I was using a lot of electricity because I'd gotten a bigger bill the previous month. And so I checked with the power company, and they thought that it had to be one of my appliances, and the only thing I had in the basement is the thing in the meter was just going around in circles. I mean, it was not ever stopping, so I shut the breaker off, thinking it was my elements. And until about, because I don't go down in the basement very often. I live alone, and I don't go down there unless I have my cellar door open from the outside like I do in the summertime and the fall. But in the winter, the stairs are too dangerous, and I'm afraid I'll end up down there eaten up by the rats before anybody finds me. But anyway, eventually, about 3 days before he called me, I found that it was actually dripping water. And I didn't know it because it was going right into the ground. We have a dirt floor. I don't have a sewer system down there. And we've never bothered by outside water or anything. And so I guess that's why I use like 12 times more water in a quarter than I ever have used. And I normally don't use 40 to 50,000 gallons a year, and this was like 123,000 gallons. Most of my bills are 5,000 or 6,000 per quarter, once in a while in the summer it goes up like maybe 9, maybe 10. My one for, that ended in December was 10,000. I thought, well, that's a little high, but, you know, I just thought, well, I must have had company and used a little more water. But not until he called me and told me that, I almost fell over. I don't know how I will pay for this. And I know it's not your fault that I have this problem, but none of it went into the sewage system. And it's an 80-gallon tank, and it was just emptying itself, and I was heating all that water all that time as it ran through the thing. So I'm just wishing that you could do something to help me
You have
out.
rectified the water heater problem.
Oh yes,
Take
I
care
had
of that.
Mr. Arno came over and I bought a new tank and he put it in for me.
And the water was draining directly into the ground?
Mhm.
It wasn't pooling?
It was going so slow, apparently it was, I mean, it's just dirt. And we have a vent in the basement that kind of tries to keep dampness out from when the heat's outside, you know, in the summertime. And apparently it kept the surface dry enough that I couldn't see it, and I couldn't even hear it until about the third day after I shut the breakers off. I had to go down there and turn the breaker on so I could heat up some more water, because I'd already shut that off, and I kept thinking, gee, I hear water dripping somewhere, and I started looking around and I could see it puddling right underneath the heater. And so I shut the water line right off and just decided to boil it in my tea kettle for 3 or 4 days until I could get the tank replaced. But that was before I knew how much water I had used. And apparently Mr. Arnold told me that it had been leaking for a long time. That's probably why that accounted for my raise in the amount that I had for the month ending in December. But there's no way for me to know that one. But that one wasn't too far out of line with my normal bill.
Okay, you've been copied with the credit request from Deputy Clerk Parkham. You'll notice the total bill adjustment, total bill due $145.32. Have a motion to adjust the bill.
That's not the adjustment amount.
That will be the end result, that's what her bill will be.
Right.
She will need to pay.
The adjustment will be $1,023.72.
Well, yeah, the adjustment, but the total bill will be $145.32.
Is that based on what I had at the end of December? I had 10,000 gallons.
Normally, it's the last 4 readings that we take an average, which came up to about 9,000 gallons.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what we had.
based it on. And that would have included that 10,000 gallon one. But
Yeah. Like I said, that one wasn't really all that far out of sometimes when I go to 8,000, but
right.
most of the time I'm 5 and 6. Well, I think it
We're not at discussion stage yet. We have to make a motion first so we can discuss.
Have a motion to adjust.
So moved, I'll make a motion to adjust the water and wastewater charge.
Have a second?
Second.
Now we can discuss it.
Oh, I should state the
You
amount.
should state the amount.
The adjustment is a total of $1,023.72.
Okay, and I hate to say this, but did we not, just a few months ago, say that we no longer can do these adjustments?
Yeah, I know.
That is the #1 problem, and I have no problem adjusting. The second component is we have never in the past adjusted for the water. The water's gone in, the water's been treated, and unfortunately accidents do happen like that, but we've never credited the water portion of it on anyone's accounts. It's always been sewer only.
That's where I was with that, and got a lot of heartburn over this one. It's a tough.
And I hate to do that, but protocol,
Well, I
what we've done.
understand that, and, you know, I mean, it's not your responsibility to bear all of it, and it's my problem that I can't get my basement often enough, but, you know, there's nothing that I can tell I had seen my meter, but I couldn't remember what it was the last time. I knew it was up at 944, but I had no idea that it was way above, you know, I mean, I had seen that the beginning of the month, but it didn't, you know, because I knew you were going to come and read it, and I don't go out there very often in the winter time.
I never look at mine. You guys do.
I don't think I ever looked at my meter.
I don't.
You can't read yours anyway.
Well, I was looking at mine, and it's the wrong meter, because I see you always going down the other side of the house now. Wonder why it never really changed. Sorry.
Well, I don't want to create any problems that other people will say, you know.
Right. Well, that's what we have to be careful with. I mean, you know, it's run into a problem with lots and lots of credits. You know, people going away for the winter and a toilet was leaking the whole time.
The businesses.
You know,
and I do agree with Amy.
Crippling with businesses.
They have always adjusted just the wastewater because the water was still treated and provided.
Well, I can assure you that none of the excess of 10,000 gallons went into the sewer
Right.
system.
No, we understand that.
It was all in the basement. So,
What's your proposal?
The proposal would be, I'll let you say it, but my proposal would be to adjust the wastewater, which is still going to be a significant help. Yeah.
Well, the credit portion would be $684.
Correct.
The new credit.
so I'd still owe about 600.
No.
Well, I mean, my whole bill was 1,200.
No, your water portion was $393. 493, 500.
Mm-hmm.
Minus insurance?
Hmm?
What about your insurance company?
I
Is
don't
there
know if
anything
they're
that you
covered.
can?
I don't even know if it's covered.
Yeah.
Probably I'm more deductible than that. Probably I'm about 500 maybe. If they would cover it. But I don't know that they will. No, I will accept that if that's your opinion. If that's what you normally do.
Well, it's what we've done in the past. I mean, we've never done the water.
You're right. The water was coming in, and only I didn't know it was going out.
Right. Well, and that is the problem with these accidents that do happen, and it's awful, and it's crippling for people, and I totally understand it. But we make this exception to make this credit, which we had taken off the table just a couple months ago. We're making the exception to give any kind of credit. It was just a few months ago that we said that we were no longer going to take credits because they were pulling in at a record amount. Oh, I had a leaky toilet, but I didn't get it fixed. Things like that. This is totally beyond your control. I totally understand that. I have no problem with making the exception to the rule. There's always exception to rules. And I would second Tom's motion.
What's your proposal? What do you want?
Most, so you want this motion revised?
Oh, so we have to take back the motion, yes you do.
Yes. Okay, so we revise the motion to state a credit of $684 for wastewater only.
So the total bill will be $45.04.
I'm not unreasonable.
The water and sewer bill total
Yes.
should be $485.04.
That's after
We
the
need
credit.
after the credit.
That's correct. Maybe the way you said it, Greg, then.
Yeah, that's what I came up with, too, is 485.
Whatever.
We have a second on that?
I don't want to break the village.
Have a second on that? Adjusted
Second.
bill 45.04. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Grisenda,
Aye.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Trustee Garrett.
Aye.
Any other new business?
Yeah. What did I say I wanted on a new business? Oh, the parade. Funding for the parade, so that we can keep a parade in the village.
The parade for St. Mary?
Yeah.
Oh.
because they opted to eliminate the parade last year, and the village assisted so that we were able to maintain it. Well, 2 years ago, actually, it started. Because we were having the big festival down in Champlain, so we wanted to be an exceptional parade. They assisted in that.
Need a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we continue the assistance with $1,100 to maintain a parade in our village.
Second.
Have a second? Any discussion?
Those budgets are correct.
$1,500.
Well,
Funds available.
Unless I was mistaken as to what was there.
I hate to be the spokesman here,
Yeah.
but last year that was the only board meeting that I missed all year. And the board voted on to donate some money to St. Mary's. I feel we need to make a separation here between what is being asked for and what the village can do. I understand the importance of having the parade. It's a huge draw here. But to expend village funds for this one event does not sit well. I think we need to maintain that separation in our expenditures of village funding. So therefore, I don't agree with this expenditure. Any other discussion?
Well, I would say to counter that is that, you know, Rouse's Point holds their event, they contribute to that, as well as fundraising that goes into that.
Yeah, but it's a village
Right.
affair, it's not a church affair.
Correct, I understand that, but what it's doing is creating a community event, and no one else in the community is holding such an event to pull people together. It is a community event. It's not for Catholics. It's for everyone to come and participate from around, to get people to come to our community. And we, frankly, don't have a lot of things to get people to participate in our community or to come here to Champlain. The crew does a phenomenal job with cleaning up the streets and making it look wonderful for people who do come, and we pull in a lot of people to this event.
Yes, I agree with you, but it's just the expenditure of public funds for this event.
But it brings in people to the area who then go to McDonald's, who go to our gas stations, who then put the money back into our businesses that we support here, which I think is very important to maintain.
I realize that, and I understand where you're coming from with the increased number of people here in the building. But my thought is the expenditure of public funds that we tax people for.
I understand that. And we have within the parade, we have anyone within our community, all our community organizations march in that parade so people see what's out there, what's available to them. You know, without that, we never display what's available. You know, the businesses show off their cars, the firemen, you know, they get to be proud that we get to cheer them on. This is a time of year we get to thank our community for what they do. And I know it's sponsored by St. Mary's, and I understand what you're saying, that we're putting this money in so that people go to St. Mary's Bazaar. You know, there's no question, it does benefit the bazaar. I'm not saying that it doesn't. But between all the events that we give back to the public, we have the Boy Scouts free of charge at St. Mary's. We don't charge them a thing to use our building, our facilities. Zumba is in there using our facilities. The dance classes are in there using our facilities. And we do those things to keep community in our community. Otherwise, we have nothing here. And if it weren't for that building that holds the community events, there would be no community events. People getting together, seeing neighbors, talking to each other, that sense of community. I'm sorry, but I'm all for a sense of community, and we don't do enough, and that's why I want to do the festival as well, you know, more personal, just for our village folk. But I mean, this pulls from Rouse's Point, from Chazy, from Moores, from Canada, even a few from Plattsburgh come up to this. These are people coming to us and seeing what we have here. And these kids who march in these parades are so proud of what they do between the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts and the Cub Scouts and the Brownies and everybody that marches our streets. This is when people get to see these kids and be proud. You know, the gymnastics from Northeastern, you know, they do a routine out there. You've got the principal of Northeastern who does his little juggling act walking through. You've got our firemen that come through. You've got all these people in our community showing off what they are, who they are, and that's what we need to focus on.
I agree with your focus. I think it's a very dynamic, and I think it's a very enriching opportunity for the village. You know, on that day and that parade, I think is an important part of it. I mean, people sit on my deck every year and watch the parade. I mean, that's hopefully one of the nicer days and one of the highlights of the year, you know, to see the parade go by. And I agree with you that it does bring in a lot of it does bring in a lot of people here in the village, and it does offer people something that the village needs very, you know, a very important asset here. We need to do all of the things that we possibly can to make the village a better place to come and visit. It is just, there's something in the back of my thinking process here about the expenditure of tax funds.
I understand your thoughts and your feelings on that. That makes sense. But I do agree with the fact that it has become a community event over the years. And it really
it's a very important one.
Can I say something? I feel the same way about this. It's not a Catholic thing. It's not even necessarily a Christian thing. It's just everybody in this town is connected to that school for over 100 years. Almost all of us in my age group went through high school there. Just about everybody in this village did. And even people come there now who are not even Catholic. They go to school there because they can get a good education. And the people who come out of that school are an asset to the community also. And one of the other benefits is that they learn right from wrong. We're not teaching them Catholicism. We teach them that, the ones that are Catholic. But we're just teaching them how to behave like by the Ten Commandments, which are, I had just got an email that I had not yet realized that Moses and the Ten Commandments are on top of the Supreme Court building, surrounded by all kinds of other legislators, and that the U.S. government since 1777 pays a minister of some sort with federal money, our tax dollars, to say the prayer before, even though they don't want us to say prayer in school. But we're paying a minister to do that. So we're founded on the principles of the Ten Commandments. They even wrote that in the paperwork, that's what we follow. It's not a Catholic thing. It's just raising good people who make good citizens. You don't need a police department around here much because we have good people. And that's why I think that the village benefits a lot from whatever goes on at St. Mary's. And when everybody comes down there, it's a real thing of pride. Everybody around here knows Champlain's, and they don't think of it as St. Mary's Bazaar. It's the Champlain Bazaar. We call it St. Mary's because it's held on the school grounds. But they all come here and they spend a lot of money in the village. I mean, they go to the dollar store, they go to the drugstores, they buy beer because we don't usually sell a lot of beer down there. And we have entertainment that the senior citizens can get out and enjoy themselves because they don't have any place to go. There are just a lot of things that benefit the community, and I don't see where there's really a problem with that. I mean, I understand that you're thinking like church and state. Well, church and state are combined in the Constitution, but nobody ever wants to believe that.
I think the mayor is more concerned with the taxpayers' dollars and how it's being spent and their views on how the dollars are spent. As a taxpayer, I think it's a good expenditure myself and investment in the community. Maybe we should consider in the future trying to combine our Village Fest at this time and join to
Well, that would be
to make it a little more easier to swallow in that respect, but I think that's a further
We have
discussion.
also,
separate from the motion.
Greg, for your information, the bazaar has opened up to organizations that we do now allow on the grounds during the bazaar. It is no longer just run by us. The firemen are there raising money at the event. We have the Kiwanis Club. We have we
The
had
dealers, the
the
businesses.
Adventures last year, and we had one more. Kiwanis. They just had a dinner Friday night. John Paul Club. Women of the World. Okay. So we have those other organizations that you may not be aware of that we have opened up to the community so that they can show off their wares as well at that event.
And Amy, we have those other things, I don't know if you're doing it again this year, but the vendors that come down there and advertise for their services that they provide, like lawn mowing and, you know, they're...
Oh, well, we have the
they're pretty
recognition.
friendly.
We recognize all the businesses that support this event. And last year, we had 148 businesses support this event. And they get recognition on the grounds as well.
Well, I have to agree with Greg on this. I think that we are being scrutinized under a microscope lately for our spending and how we manage what we're doing. I think we're doing a fine job. Obviously, people in the village think we're doing a fine job or they wouldn't have reelected 3 of us. But I also do feel that we are being looked at as to how we're managing things. And I do realize that St. Mary's Bazaar is a big thing for this community, and it has been for many years. My childhood growing up was spent on the grounds because my parents worked there. We worked there for over 20 years. It's our parish. But I also feel that as a forefather, as well, of this village, that I think we need to start looking at things a little bit differently, in that we're needing to tighten our bootlaces a little bit more than we had to before.
Well, we've received no objections at all over the past 2 years. No one has come forward and said, why are you spending that money to support a parade in your village?
The first year it was funds from, it was the quadcentennial funds.
Correct.
It was not from the village.
Sure, okay.
This last year was the expenditure of village funds.
And the quad was a bigger picture of government funding.
Any other comments? A roll call vote, please. Would you go back over your motion?
Make a motion to expend $1,100 for the parade Memorial Day weekend.
Have a second?
Aye. Second.
Okay. Have a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Trombley,
Nay.
trustee Grisenda,
Nay.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
Mayor Moore, I'm sorry, Mayor Martin, Abbott,
I just can't make that separation. Nay.
motion failed.
Okay.
Any other new business to come before the board? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
This one we can do. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Motion carries. Thank you very much. It's a very important meeting here.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.